Hey everybody, Ron Harris here. I'm the online editor. Before I start the video, I have to do the usual. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification, like the video, put your notifications on always. So the reason I'm doing this video is obviously we've had a lot of death this year in 2021, and myself and other people who report the news on YouTube channels, we're media outlets, we've all reported on these deaths immediately because that's what the news does. We report the news. We don't wait until everyone else has reported about it or made their reports. We get it out as soon as we find out about it. Yeah, there is. People say, you don't care about these people. You only want to be first. It doesn't matter whether you care about them or not. As a news outlet, you have an obligation to be first, a journalistic obligation. There's been a lot of debate about whether or not any of us on YouTube doing these types of videos and reports are indeed journalists. You know, like Nick Trigillian. A lot of people say you're not journalists. Well, I want to look up the definition for journalist to get that out of the way. A journalist is a person who writes for newspapers, magazines, or news websites, or prepares news to be broadcast. So that's a very, very broad definition. It encompasses a lot of people. So anybody who really reports the news, whether it be in written form, which obviously written form is kind of going away. The world has gone digital. Everyone gets their news and information now from their phone, mainly their desktop, laptop, tablet, whatever. Mainly our phones. We have our phones in our hands. You know, I have my phone near me every waking minute. It's even when I'm in the bathroom, I have my phone. So yeah, I've come under fire. A lot of these other news outlets on YouTube, bodybuilding news outlets, have come under fire for reporting all these deaths, but that's what we do. We report the news. I don't want to report death. I don't. I hate being the bearer of bad news. Some of these people I knew, John Meadows I knew. John's death hit me very hard. He was an amazing human being. I like John a lot. George Peterson, another just wonderful person. Sean Roden, I didn't know him personally. I met every interaction I ever had with him. He was just so humble, soft-spoken, smile on his face. You know, we've lost a lot of really good people, and I don't like to say so-and-so has passed away. I don't, believe me, but that's my job. I'm a reporter of the news. I have a media outlet here with Muscular Development. I work for the company. My job is to get the news out as fast as we find out about it. Now, I do have to apologize and correct myself on this whole Vic Richards fiasco from last week. I did falsely spread the rumor along with many other people that he had passed away. We don't know where the rumor started. The first that we know of was Andreas Colling, an 80s bodybuilder who was also a famous vegetarian. He made a post that Vic had passed away. You know, people did try to verify it. I didn't have his number. I messaged him on Facebook. Other people actually had his phone number, and he ignored every text message, every phone call for days and days because he was with his 6-year-old son, and he didn't want the negativity of the devil and this and that. I did a whole video about that. So I do apologize for not verifying that he was dead, even though there was no way to verify. So people say, well, you shouldn't have reported on it. Well, everyone else is reporting on it. Am I not supposed to report on it? Here's the thing. You guys call us vultures. You say, you know, we're profiting off of the death. Let me ask you this. I know a lot of you guys don't watch news at all. A lot of you don't. But there are still newspapers, believe it or not. People read them online now too, but there are still printed newspapers. There are still news channels. People watch the TV news, CNN, Fox News, your local news. They report death every time a plane crashes, a hurricane kills a bunch of people, a tornado, there's a mass shooting. It's big news and it's everywhere immediately. That's the news, and it's their job to report it, even if it is bad news. And they are profiting off it because that's what their business is, that they're a news outlet. They're a radio station, TV station, cable station, streaming service, whatever the case may be. Their job is to report the news. You know, I don't like to report death. I'm much happier reporting contest results. Somebody just won a contest. Somebody just got a new coach. You know, positive things. I do try to shy away from a lot of the negative stories. You don't see me making a video every time someone gets arrested or divorced or, you know, things like that, things of that nature. But, you know, if it's big news, if somebody just got sentenced to prison or somebody just tore a pec or something, it's bad news, but I have to report it. I have to report the good and the bad news. So, you know, you guys come down really hard on the YouTube media outlets, but you have to realize it's just another form of news outlet. It just happens to be the ones. This is probably the only outlet that a lot of you have for bodybuilding news, because CNN's not going to report on us. TMZ, unfortunately, some of these stories do end up on like TMZ, as you know, some of the bigger stories, but for the most part, they don't. It's just a few main channels. Myself, Nick Strength and Power, Nick Trigilli, Dave, Desktop Bodybuilding. There's probably Generation Iron. There's probably less than 10 of the major news outlets on YouTube that report on all these things. But like I said, nobody calls these other. You guys don't worry so much if CNN reports an earthquake just killed 1,000 people in Colombia, or there's a school shooting in Chicago and 20 young people lost their lives. That's the news. That's their job to report it, their duty and responsibility as a news outlet, as is mine. So I'm sure you guys are ready to rip me a couple new a-holes, and I'll see what you have to say, and I'll respond, because I'm far from perfect, very far from perfect. Greetings from Turkey. Great. The guy from Taken, huh? I don't know what that means. Just watch your previous videos. Definitely 100% correlation between heart attacks. We can't get into heart attacks and COVID. Yeah, that was the Jose Raymond video. We just put up the video that I did with Jose Raymond. It's an episode of No Way Jose where we talked about all the deaths and tried to figure out why it's happening, and we just got into it for a little while. Dale Wilson, when it comes to death, you should wait for full confirmation first. If you get it wrong, that's pretty bad. Well, I've only been wrong once with this Vic Richards. Every other time I've ever reported a death, it ended up being true. The person was unfortunately dead. I'm happy I effed up and I screwed up that Vic Richards, because I'm happy he's alive. I don't want to see anybody die. I don't. People in our sport is so small. I hate seeing people die. But yeah, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. It's unless you have access to the people's family, friends. In a lot of cases we can, like with John Meadows, everybody knew John. It was pretty easy to verify. And but in other cases like Vic Richards, who do you call? There's some people had his number, and like I said, he was ignoring all the calls and messages. So what do you do in that situation? You don't report. You let everyone else report. I guess that's what you want me to do. I'm not trying to argue or I know it does sound like I'm trying to justify myself, because in a sense I am, but I hear what you're saying, guys. I'm listening to everything. Derek Hall, I work in media, write for Fitness Volt, but don't consider myself a journalist. I would consider you a journalist. I don't know why you don't. In my opinion, simply reporting news doesn't make you a journalist. It requires a level of investigation, or it's just media. Yeah, I wouldn't put myself on the level of someone who writes for, New York Times, or some investigative reporter who, uncovers political scandal or, corruption. I would never put myself on that level. To me, that's a real journalist. In bodybuilding, there's been very few. The only guy I would call a true journalist, just because he was so amazing, was the late Peter McGough. Mario Fee, the only guy which acts like he has absolutely no empathy, is Sean Ray. You guys are great. Derek Hall, everyone profits from everyone else. That's commerce. Yeah. Again, Derek, there's a difference in reporting and doing tabloid stuff. Yeah, I try to stay away from all the tabloid stuff I do. What else we got there? Elon Powers. Hey, Elon, what's up, man? Enjoyment NYC on Instagram. Good dude. Don't shoot the messenger as much as you all want the news in real time. Please be reasonable with all the bodybuilding media outlets. J-Dog, I watch and listen to your shows and others for mostly entertainment. I also get lots of health news. I think people get too offended too easily sometimes. Well, that's the world in 2021. People get very offended at anything these days. I could just say blue and somebody's going to say blue. Oh, I'm very offended by that. How dare I hate blue. Blue, blue. I'm just being ridiculous, but you get what I'm saying. Hang in there. I'm hanging in there. I'm doing good. I'm fine. Mohan Mahmood, why you never bring Lee Priest for interview? Lee is a loose cannon. I have to watch myself. I have to be in good standing with the IFBB Pro League, with the NPC, because I depend on them for press passes to cover the major competitions. Arnold Classic, Olympia, New York Pro, Tampa Pro, Chicago Pro, Indy Pro, on and on and on. I need passes to sit in the front row, take the pictures, report on the shows, do my interviews with the athletes. Lee doesn't give an F. He doesn't care. You know, so he could say, you know, he could just run his mouth and slander people, and there's no repercussion. So I can't bring him on here to do that. You can call me a pussy or whatever, but you know what? You don't bite the hand that feeds, and I don't. I'm not going to have him on my channel just for shock value because he's outrageous, and he's like, you know, Dave has him on all the time. It's mainly for shock value. Like, you know, if you look at the thumbnails for the videos, it's always outrage. The word outrageous comes up like almost all the time. Lee Priest is outrageous, this or that. It's just shock value, sensationalism, like the Howard Stern of YouTube. So, yeah. Kuwait watching here. What's up, Kuwait? You guys are a great nation for bodybuilding. J-Dog, I don't think anything different about you, your channel. Mohammed, did you see the last update of Rami? He's back. He's getting thicker. Yeah, Rami actually looks better in the pictures I've seen lately of him than he did at the Olympia, oddly enough. Crazy, huh? Derek Hall, I also jumped the gun with Vic's report. Derek's with Fitness Vault. Based on other reporting, some of these guys in bodybuilding are hard to reach, but we have a job to do. Yeah, you know, I mean, what are you supposed to do when you can't reach them and you have no access to them? I guess a lot of you say, don't report on it. Okay, well, everyone else is going to report on it. I'm not going to report on it. I kind of have to. Sorry. Obviously, you meant no malice. No, I never mean malice. I never am. I'm a nice guy. I'm a good guy. I don't wish harm on anyone. I'm not trying to slander anyone, or, you know, I really am not. J-Dog. Manny's Fitness Fortress. Ron, you do an amazing job as a bodybuilding journalist. Your stories have been in CCU. Yeah, I mean, if you want to do the right, you know, I have published over 5,000 articles, so people don't read print much anymore. I'm aware of that, but I had a great run as a print journalist when print was king, when the magazines were king. I did very, very well for a long time. I'm very grateful for that. The world has moved on to digital. It's all online. It's all YouTube now and Instagram, and that's fine. You know, nothing stays the same forever. Joseph, as long as you don't bring Sean Ray to talk about death, you good. Well, I actually spoke to Sean yesterday, and he is not doing any interviews with anybody for a little while, so I won't be doing that. Mohammed, we need Kai Green and Lee Priest in press conference Olympia Vegas next year. Well, they'd only be in the press conference if they were competing. Well, I guess they could be in the audience, but, you know, Lee Priest is banned for life from the IFBB Pro League. Kai, I don't believe Kai's ever going to compete again. I wish he would, but, you know, he's no spring chicken. He looks great, but I mean, he's late 40s now. I don't think he's ever going to compete again. Manny's Fitness Fortress. Again, your stories and updates have great accuracy and appreciate your information. You know, I'm not accurate most of the time. I admit that. Sometimes I did not verify a story. There have been times. Most of the time, stories are verified. They're accurate. I make a few phone calls before I make the video. I mess up sometimes. I make mistakes. I really, you know, like all of us. Dan Birch. Oh, we're back on Sean Ray. Sean Ray exhibits narcissistic, sociopathic personality traits. Seems to lack empathy. Lee is not like that, but he does speak his mind, LOL. Edgar Calderon. The IFBB kicker Lee Priest out back. The IFBB, I think you meant to say, kicked Lee Priest out back then, and people are saying the IFBB is a terrible organization, and they would be canceled if they did that in this generation. Tim Almeida, should the IFBB partner with a couple of physicians during Olympia weekend to give consults to discuss athletes' blood work and echoes? How would we take the liability off the doctors? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what... Everyone's saying there should be doctors, should be checkups, should be this or that. I mean... Yeah, in a perfect world, we'd have like an echocardiogram backstage and blood work in a lab and everything, you know, I mean, or at the host hotel, but that's really not realistic. It's not feasible, guys. It's just not. I mean, I hate to echo what other people have said and put the onus, the burden on the athletes, but it's up to them. If, you know, it's your body, it's your health, it's your life. Nobody is forcing these people to be professional bodybuilders or to compete. Nobody. Say, well, the standards for what wins these days, well, then don't compete. Don't compete. Don't, you know, I hate to say it. I know, believe me, I love bodybuilding. I competed for many years. I understand these people have a passion and love for it, but there is an inherent risk with carrying extreme amounts of muscle mass and all the drugs that are required to look like that. And you know you're taking a chance. You can sort of put it in the back of your mind, try to deny it. No, I'm fine. But everybody who's using steroids, everybody who's huge knows they're taking a chance. with their life, and they're shortening their life. Big people in general, big heavy people do not live as long. They don't. It's been there's been studies that show the people that live the longest are slightly underweight. People that don't eat much, they live the longest. You've never seen a morbidly obese 80-year-old person, have you? And you never will. They don't make it that long. And bodybuilders, by carrying all this extra mass, even if it's muscle rather than fat, it's still a tremendous stress on the organs, on all the systems of the body, especially the heart. So if you want to be healthy and live a long life, you know, I'm guilty too. I'm overweight by the medical definitions. I'm 5'7.5". I'm a little over 220. I used to be like 240. That was even worse, of course. But if you want to be very healthy, don't be a bodybuilder. Be a natural bodybuilder. Don't be a drug-assisted bodybuilder with all this muscle mass. Don't. That was Tim. Gonna try. If I mess up some of your names, guys, please forgive me. Stark, Keisha, Ebony Coleman. You'll be back when the grid goes down. What? I don't know what that means. Mohammed. Finally, Hassan with Chris Aceto next year will be the Hulk versus Nick the Mutant. Hassan's been with Aceto for a while already. Yeah, I mean, I love Hassan's one of my favorite new pros. I'd love to see him just come in crazy condition and blow a show away. He should be winning shows, that guy. He should definitely be winning shows. He shouldn't be taking third or fourth. Okay, someone's going to take me to task. Duke Nukem. Maybe future reports that cannot be directly confirmed should be qualified, with it's being widely reported that, but we have not independently confirmed this. That's a great idea. Thank you, Duke. Duke Nukem. Old video game. That is a great idea, and you know, I'll do that in the future. Thank you very much, Duke. That was a great suggestion. J-Dog, Kai needs to start thinking about his size and age too. Yeah, you know, far be it from me to tell Kai Green what to do with his life or anything. He clearly enjoys being huge. He has not competed in over 5 years. 2016, he won a bunch of shows in the spring, and that was the last we saw Kai on a stage. But he's not lost 1 ounce of muscle. He has not downsized. He's still, I don't know. I never know what to believe with his weight. He's a little shorter than me. So I'm going to say he's 5'7". I believe he walks around at a pretty lean, something between 280 and 300. I wouldn't doubt it. If you stand next to him, you know, at that Redcon gym opening in Nashville that I went to earlier this year, Kai wore tights everywhere. He didn't wear anything else, no shorts. And from the side, people were like laughing, looking at how big his legs were in tights. From the side, sideways, they were like 2 feet across from, you know, quad to the back of the ham. It was outrageous. He's so thick, but is it healthy for him to be that size? No, of course it's not. It's not. But he loves being that big, this larger-than-life, living, you know, comic book superhero character. So if that's how he wants to live his life, he's a grown-ass man. He's 46 now, I believe. So, you know, he'll do what he wants to do. Mohammed, if Rami brings you guys love Rami. If Rami brings the details of Egypt guest posing the one Milos posts, he'll win at least 6. I don't know how many Olympias Rami will win, but who's going to beat him at this point? You know, I don't know. I don't know who's beating him. I don't see anybody out there that's like coming up. You know, maybe Nick Walker in a couple of years could be pushing him for the win. I don't know, but right now Rami's pretty dominant. Kai Green needs to step down. I mean, he'll do what he wants to do. Derek Hall, at the end of the day, falsely reporting a death is a bad look. Agree. But if you own up to the mistake, admit the error, and retract the original report, all of what you did, there's not much else to do. Yeah. Enhanced bodybuilding should be for good. Jesus Figueroa. Enhanced bodybuilding should die for good. I'm actually going to talk to Lee Haney tomorrow. We're doing a video because he called me, and that's kind of going to be the main subject. You know, he's been very vocal about classic physique is a safer, healthier option. I'm not saying there are drugs used in classic. Don't get me wrong. Of course there are. Do classic physique competitors use the amount of drugs as open bodybuilders? I don't think they do. Of course, we'd have to get them all on a lie detector test and get all their cycles to really verify that. But they're all genetically blessed, all of them. So if a Bumstead is 6'1" and 235, and some other guy in the open class is 6'1" and 300 pounds, I would, and they're both genetic freaks. Yeah, that guy that's 300 pounds, he eats a lot more food and everything, but his doses are probably higher. Anyway, that's something I'm doing with Lee Haney, and that'll probably be out by the end of the week. Tomorrow's Wednesday. J-Dog. All that personal health info is private, yeah. Joseph, what do you think on what Sean Ray said about rodent death in his last interview? I actually made a reaction video finally. I didn't want to, but I kind of had to because MD got dragged into it. So that'll be up. I think we might put that up today. I'm not really sure. But I said everything I wanted to say in there. Oh boy. Mohammed. Where are you from, Mahmoud? Are you from Kuwait? If Sean Ray going to commentate next year, Olympia, Vegas, no one will watch it. We need Milos commentating, Flex Wheeler, Rich Gaspari, Haney, Phil Heath, bring those legends. I mean, who knows who's going to commentate at this point. Dorothy, probably need an acknowledgement requirement that the athletes are being monitored and checkups with their primary care providers. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. You know, I just wonder, these people having checkups, when do they do the checkup? Do they do it while they're running a cycle? Do they wait till they're off? Because I've done this many times in the past. As a steroid user myself, if I know I'm having my yearly checkup, I'm on low doses for a good 2 months before that. I don't come off because I can't. My body doesn't make testosterone anymore. I know people talk shit because, you're not even a pro and you lost your ability to produce testosterone. Oh, well, I did. Anyway, yeah, I mean, guys, people would they would sort of, I hate to use the word cheat, but they would sort of fudge the system there. They would get checkups when they were off all the stuff, and then they'd load up again. And I don't know how that would work. Yes, back to print. Former print editor here, Starkesia Ebony Coleman. I don't think print is ever coming back to what it was because the world has moved on. It's like, you know, when I was a kid, there were like 4 TV channels, and it's a different world now. It's just a totally different world. Things have changed. Manny's Fitness, Fortress. Do you think Kai is holding his weight to continue building his brand? Yeah, of course, of course. I mean, that's his persona. That's why a lot of people follow him and buy his ebooks and listen to what he has to say, is because he's huge. If a pro bodybuilder is 270 and then he goes way down to TRT and he goes down to like 210 or 220, I'm just making up numbers here, guys. He loses credibility with a lot of you guys. A lot of you guys put more credibility in a person if they're bigger. You do. Don't deny it. You absolutely do. I mean, I've seen like, people will come to, they'll see somebody with I'm giving a stupid example here. They'll see somebody with huge arms and ask them, wow, how did you build huge arms? And they'll say something like, well, I did some curls and push downs. Oh, okay, that's like golden advice. They won't listen to somebody with average arms who might have had tiny arms before, who went from like a 10-inch arm to a 17-inch arm, because it's still just a 17-inch arm. You put more credibility and validity in bigger people. So a lot of these pros and fitness influencers who don't even compete, they stay big because they know a lot of people will put a lot more stock in what they say, and particularly what they have to sell if they're these freaky bodybuilders. Blackman new interview now. El Dragon, Nick Walker, Hadi should have won realistically. I certainly would have had no problem with Hadi Chupan winning the Olympia. He looked freaking amazing. I thought he looked great. I don't know who Dunkovia Anderson is, sorry. I mean, the name's familiar. Raymond Jones, who covers natural bodybuilding shows? I don't know, not me. I don't know, who does? Good question, no idea. I don't even know the organizations anymore. I assume WNBF is still around here. I'm in New England. I'm in Massachusetts. The OCB has like natural amateur organization. I think they also have a pro division in the OCB. I think WNBF is still around. Beyond that, I couldn't tell you anymore. Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, every organization I'm sure has their own social media and hopefully YouTube channel. So you don't have to wait for other people to cover your shows. You can sort of give yourself, like NPC News Online. They have tons of coverage of the NPC US, worldwide, IPB Pro League on their own website and YouTube channel. And that's the way most people do it now. Killer Cam. Do you see Patrick Moore ever winning Mr. Olympia in the future? I don't write anybody off. He would need to be a lot bigger than he is now, a lot thicker. He's got a great physique. He just needs to be thicker. And, you know, that's just what he's up against. That's the people he's standing next to on the Olympia stage. They're much more thickly developed than he is. You know, he's got the tiny waist. He's got great aesthetics. He gets in great condition. Some really standout body parts. His shoulders and his arms are incredible. But he's going to have to put a lot of size on if he wants to beat these people who are, you know, you want to beat Big Ramy or someone like that, you better, you know, either have, even Sean Roden, who wasn't enormous, he was still, I believe he was still about 250 pounds at 5'9". That's a pretty big dude. It's not 300 pounds, but that's a big dude. And he had awesome shape and aesthetics and everything too. Dorothy. Okay, here we go. If the IFBB has doctors or EKG equipment at the venues, then that would still make the IFBB liable if something's missed. Athletes just need to acknowledge their health and being monitored by their doctor. Yeah, it's got to come down to personal liability, personal responsibility, and accountability. You know, it's your life as anybody. It's once you're an adult, it's all on you. You can't depend on other people to make sure you're healthy and stuff. That's your responsibility. It's your life. You know, as a child or something, obviously that's your parents or your guardian's responsibility. But once you're 18 or 21 or whatever, you're a grown-ass adult, and you have to make sure you're healthy and all that. That's on you. That's your responsibility. Joseph, do you think Keon is getting back to classic is a smart move? I don't think it's a healthier move for him. He'll see. It is healthier if he's going to cut way back on the gear use, eat a lot less food, because both of those things, eating less food in general, that's healthier. That'll allow you to live longer. Of course, cutting back on the gear, using lower doses, which I believe he would do if he's going to be dropping. He needs to drop like 25, 30 pounds of muscle now. He was like almost at 212. And for his height in classic, he needs to come back down to 180. So I'm guessing he's going to go very, very low on the gear. And probably he'll have to eat a lot less. Whatever the amount of calories and everything he was eating to be 210 on stage, it's going to have to come down. It's reduced significantly for him to get back to 180. Yuri Bezmenov was right. I don't know who Yuri was. I know I blast between appointments to clean up my blood work before I go in. Yeah, very, very common. A lot of us do a lot of that. It's living in denial. 100%. I 100% agree. It's living in denial, because if you get your blood work done while you're in the middle of a blast, it's going to look pretty bad. You know, maybe some of you not so bad as others, but still, you know, certain values are going to be all over the place, much higher than they should be, out of range. So a lot of us are guilty of that. We wait until we've been off. You know, if I know December 1st, I have my annual doctor's visit, and I'm doing blood work. I'll go off. I won't blast. I'll just go down to a very low dose, you know, for at least 6 weeks before that. David's Beast Mode. Why doesn't natural bodybuilding get the same coverage as the guys who aren't? Both are just as hard. It's supply and demand. You can't make people interested in something they're not interested in. You know, it's like women's bodybuilding. Why did it go away? There just wasn't a lot of interest in it. There wasn't. It wasn't attracting sponsors. It just wasn't that popular for a long time. You can't make people want to follow natural bodybuilding. Yeah, they're ripped and everything, but people follow open bodybuilding for the freaks, for these guys with 22-inch arms and shoulders out to here, and these backs that are, you know, 6 inches deep, thick with muscle, and, you know, legs like zeppelins. And yeah, I mean, you can't make people, it's like bodybuilding in general. Why isn't bodybuilding mainstream? You can't make most people interested in bodybuilding. You cannot. They'll watch football, baseball, basketball, hockey, even golf and tennis, but you can't. I've been in like sports bars years ago where they would flip the channels and bodybuilding was on. People would go, hey, change that, get that shit off. They didn't want to watch it. You can't make people interested in watching something they have no interest in, that they don't find interesting, appealing, exciting, whatever. You just can't. And natural bodybuilding, you know, if you're a fan of bodybuilding, most bodybuilding fans want to see the big open guys, the 212 guys. Classic's gaining a lot of ground too, but yeah, I think you get the point I was trying to make. Flex Lewis versus Nick Walker, yeah. Arturo Avalos, you should throw in your hat and run to be commentated on the Olympia. Yeah, I'm busy. I'm busy working for MD. They don't want me there. Yes, Bismazov was right because natural is garbage. Also, a lot of those guys blast and come off 4 shows. Yeah, I don't know how many people. I don't know how many people in natural bodybuilding are cheating and they're actually on drugs when they compete or on drugs in the off season they come off. I have no idea, but yeah, I don't know how many natural bodybuilders are truly natural. I'm sure a lot of them are, but some of them are definitely not. People want Fuad to do it instead of Sean. Okay. When Bob Paris came out as gay, the link between muscles and homosexuality became evident. The industry then went from the Greek body ideal to the Hulk type to dispel associations with homosexuality. Now you're making it seem like there was this vast conspiracy, like a concerted effort, like everyone, there was like an Illuminati meeting where everyone says, all right, listen, Bob Paris just came out and told everyone he's gay. We got to make sure the bodybuilders get really big and nasty, freaky looking. No, there was nothing like that. It's just the bodies got bigger and bigger because that's typically what happens, especially once Dorian Yates started winning Olympias and he was bigger and freakier looking. We saw a lot more people getting bigger and freakier looking because they wanted to beat him and they wanted to follow his example. It was nothing. It's not like there was no conspiracy among the industry heads. It's not like Joe Weider brought a big round table together, some underground bunker. That's crazy. I'm biased, I'll oppose sex, old school, soul problems. Keon was natural and classic for a while. Yeah, I believe that. El Dragon, do you guys think the trend is moving away from the monsters toward the aesthetics as we see in the Brandao victory? Or that depends on the event? It depends on the event. It's, you can't, to establish a trend, you need to see a series of similar types of bodies winning shows. So just because one aesthetic guy wins a show, Big Ramy won the Olympia, Nick Walker won the Arnold, they're mass monsters. So Raphael wins one show. It doesn't mean that things are moving toward aesthetics. There are many different types of great physiques. A Raphael is a beautiful physique. It's not as big and freaky as like a Ramy, obviously, but it's just as good in its own way. Let's see. J-Dog, if you're free to make choices, you have to accept consequences. That's freedom, yeah. That's free will. You're free to use steroids or not use steroids. You're free to use recreational drugs or smoke cigarettes or drink alcohol. We have all these choices. We know what the impact is. We know steroids. Those of us who use them, and that's me. I'm not saying you steroid user. I'm a steroid user. I know the risks. I've been very, very fortunate with my health. My body seems to be very resilient. My organs, I do get them checked up. I do get checkups, and I have a cardiologist and everything. But yeah, it's taking a chance. And you do have to pay the price if I die young, which I don't expect to live to be like 90 or anything. That's on me. And I know I took some years off my life by taking all the drugs and by putting on all the muscle and by eating all that food, twice as much. I eat 5 solid meals a day and at least 1 shake with some carbs, sometimes 2. So that's a lot of food. That's a lot of stress on the digestive system and everything. Yeah, let's see. Jehan Amrolia, why do athletes hiring renowned coaches from USA place high win shows? There's coaches from other places that are winning lots of shows too. Patrick Tour, based out of Switzerland, he has a lot of people winning shows. The 2 main coaches at Oxygen Gym, Abdullah Al-Otabi and Ahmad Askar, they have a lot of people winning shows. I think just more of the named coaches happen to be based in the U.S. But no, there's no bias. I don't believe there's a bias towards coaches from any one particular country. We just happen to have a lot of them. J-Dog, you're fooling yourself playing with the labs. Yeah, agreed. El Dragon, how many old-time WWF guys died? A lot of them. A lot of the old wrestlers are dead. And a lot of them were steroid users. A lot of them were big dudes who ate a lot of food, carried a lot of size and body weight. Yeah, tons and tons of the old wrestlers that we all grew up with, they're dead. And a lot of the old-time wrestlers did have recreational drug problems. Cocaine was huge among wrestlers, which is horrible for the heart, as you know. A lot of them took, pain medication every day because they were in constant. They were always injured, and they had to keep wrestling every night anyway. So a lot of them were addicted to, Percocets, OxyContin, whatever. Yeah, so tons of wrestlers. Eddie Sketty do a great job reporting the information in real time to the majority of us. Appreciate it. Thank you, Eddie Sketty. Nathan Newman, there are some, that's why I got out of INBF. Oh, he's talking about there are some fake natties. Yeah. That's like when they say, you know, we should do diuretic testing in bodybuilding. They would just find a way to get around it. They would just try to beat the test. They would. Anytime athletes are tested, there are going to be some athletes, if not most of them, who will try to still use the banned substance and just get around the test however they can. How long? Salkis says, how long time pro bodybuilders are without drugs? I'm not really sure what you mean. E. Johnson, not a conspiracy, but after Bob Paris came out, the industry kicked him out. It is undeniable that homosexuality is a great issue in the industry. Yeah, you know, if that happened today, he wouldn't have been kicked out. It was still a very, very homophobic culture in the world and in the United States in particular back in the 1980s. Things have come a long way in just, what's that, 30 some odd years. If an athlete comes out as gay now, it's, you know, unfortunately, there's still a lot of people who are homophobic and they'll come down on them, but they're not going to be like blacklisted where they lose their contracts and they're never going to place again. It wouldn't be like that. It wouldn't be like that. Things have come a long way. There's a lot more tolerance toward homosexuality, I don't think bodybuilding has been racist for a long time. It was definitely pretty racist there for many, many years. Not to say it's completely gone. It's probably never going to be completely gone, but things are a lot better now, for sure, in a lot of ways. Prague Pro results. Nathan placed top 4. I would have had Nathan winning or second place at worst. Yeah, personally. Russ Scala, new research on what's killing bodybuilders. Share this guy's endothelial dysfunction is part of the cause. Yeah, I can't get into all that. All right, guys, I'm gonna get going. I just want to clarify. Ron, do you have any winning Romania Pro placing outside the top 5? Yeah. We talked about that with me and Milos did a good wrap up that's on this channel. So, yeah, that's been my spiel about why and how death. It's just part of the news, unfortunately. And unfortunately, we've had a lot more death to report in 2021 than ever before. I wish I didn't have so many deaths to report. I wish I could report more happy things. And hopefully there will be more positive, happy things to report on. You know, Flex Lewis opened a great gym. That was something that was very positive. You know, people having babies, people getting contracts, people winning shows. Those are all great things. I'd love to be able to report more of that and less on people dying, especially people dying young in their 30s and 40s. That's much too young to go. Anyway, so again, guys, thanks for watching. I do ask you to subscribe to the channel, like the videos if you like them, share them. And there's notifications. You want to hit that bell and make sure your notifications are turned on so you know when we have videos. I'll do a live just for Q&A by the end of the week. So then we can talk about training and stuff like that. All right. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Have yourselves a great day. Bye-bye.